program is great because our contracts are only a year long. And so it allows you to kind of become familiar with it, but also you get a payment estimate before you sign a contract with us. And then you get 50% of your payment after signing with us. So we want to make sure we're providing enough technical assistance, whether it's you need more support from Tyler with understanding what conservation practices you can implement, but also the financial assistance, because we know implementing conservation practices can be pretty expensive. So we're here as a resource for you all, and also for veterans and farming. So yeah, we're really glad to be here.
Hey, so thank you. So just to clarify, Rosemary, and I'll ask the poignant questions that maybe people are asking is, first of all, can you put your contact information for you and Tyler in the chat so people can call you if they need to or contact you?
Yes, Tyler put his contact information and I'll put mine as well. And feel free to give us either a call or email, whatever works best for anyone.
So I'll put on the screen the QR code next as Purdue Food Safety Lab is discussing. But if you go to the QR code, it's kind of got the description and the application. And what happens is you fill out an application. SWAF goes to your farm and does an assessment, correct, Rosemary or Tyler?
Yeah, so we do field visits on every field after the contract has been signed, but before then, Tyler can meet with the farmer to help them with the application process because we really want it to be as simple as possible.
And so I have learned from a friend that a year or two ago, they put in for this carbon credits and they were only offered about $12 an acre, which was very disappointing to them. But since then, there's been some action in the Senate by Senator Braun, led some action in the Senate, and the USDA has been given the opportunity to further stipend this process. They went to the Soil and Water Fund, and you guys are named what again, Rosemary, out of Iowa?
Ag Outcomes, they said
Ag Outcomes.
Yeah.
That's it. So they've gone to Ag Outcomes and said, hey, can you execute this program? It is subsidized by the government. So I'll be honest with you, Rosemary will tell you the first time I engaged them, I was wondering on the legitimacy of it because we do get a lot of queries. But then I did get with the USDA and some of our advisory panel and found out that, hey, this is a legit opportunity. It just moved into Indiana and it's on a first come, first served basis until a quantity is met in October, if I understand it right.
Yes, correct. If we meet our acre limit before October, we'll close enrollment early, but about October is the deadline that we typically give.
Okay. And then from that, the farmer can have opportunities based upon new sustainability practices to increase their carbon credits. Am I saying that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. New conservation practice that they're willing to implement on their acre is what we're looking for. So if they are already doing cover crops on their fields, then it's harder for them to sign up on those acres. They have to be willing to implement a new tillage practice or a extended crop rotation on those acres. So I guess the key point there is a new conservation practice.
Thanks. So do they go to the website https the outcomes fund, and is that where they can then contact you from?
Yeah, if they create an account on there, we'll have your contact information so we can reach out to you at that point. Or if you reach out to Tyler or I after this meeting, we can follow up with you and get you started.
Okay, super. And we're recording this meeting too, so anybody that wants to jump in can, or that's not on the meeting. And if there is a lot of interest, even after this meeting, we're more than happy to do a specific meeting on that. Hey, Brad, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So Brad Ertl, my wife's online as well. I'm picking up dinner, so I'm in the car. But we are complete newbies. We have no land yet, and we're going to get started within the next year in farming after I retire. So when you say you have to implement new tillage strategies, like if we bought land that's currently, say, row crops, and then want to do something different, would that count as changing the tillage? Like if we go to a no-till model of farming, even though we haven't farmed the land yet, we're changing from what it was.
Tyler, you can answer that question if you'd like.
Yes. Yep. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So currently I'm guessing those acres are conventional tilled, and then when you take over, you want to go no till. So that would be an implementation of a new conservation practice on those acres, and that would qualify exactly what we're looking for there. So we would just go back on the past data of what kind of tillage was done on that farm, and then we would implement whenever you would sign up for the program. That would be your intervention year, and at that point, moving forward, that would be a no-till farm, and that would be your practice change for conservation. And then Josh,
I'm sorry, Brett.
Oh, sorry. Josh had a question on there I saw about rented or owned, and there's no difference there. Well, rented or owned, it doesn't matter. Everything that you have is going to be certified through the FSA office, and those are kind of some of the documents that we're going to be looking for is acre certification that matches up with the landowner or the person or the individual who's farming the ground, not the landowner. Sorry.
Okay, so if you lease your land, then it's the person who farms the land, not the person who owns the land.
It's dependent on who contacts us to enroll the field. So we have had some landowners who enroll it, but typically we have farmers, the one who's farming the land enrolled.
Okay. Great. Any other questions out there on this opportunity?
Now, is this something that you have to apply for every year, or is it auto renew if you're already in the program?
It is reviewed on a yearly basis, but after we've entered the data in the first year, the re-enrollment process typically only takes a few minutes.
Okay, super. Anybody else out there? Anybody with comments or good of the order comments on what this done for them in the past if they've done the carbon credits? I'm not a big landowner, so it's not as valuable to me as somebody that owns 350 acres.
Douglas, is your question about the payment or the enrollment? But the answer is we can split up enrollment if okay, yes. So if the landowner wants to enroll some acres and then the farmer wants to enroll some acres, we can set it up that way, or we can give the payment to either the landowner or the farmer, and then they can decide if they want to split it between themselves.
Okay, great. Anybody else out there comment in the chat box or discussion? Excuse me. Okay, we'll look forward to maybe having another meeting or a more specific meeting on this. And Rosemary, we can get together on flyers we can send out on the Facebook and stuff too.
Definitely. Well, thank you all for your time.
Okay, and next we're going to have the Purdue Food Safety Team from Fang Lab, Elma, speak. And Elma, I know I owe you to make you a host, and hopefully it doesn't drop something, but here you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. So good evening. Thank you, Joe, for having us. My name is Elma. I'm a graduate student from the Fang Lab, Purdue University, and we'd like to recruit some farmers to participate in our focus group discussion. We are looking to recruit small and mid-sized produce farmers for our soil to market project. This is a USDA NIFA funded project, and we are recruiting produce farmers with the goal to collect information to help us develop educational materials and activities for the farming community. And the focus group session would be centered around these two broad topics that I have shown on the screen. We'll be discussing farmers' perceptions of food safety regulations, like the FSMA Produce Safety Rule, and also would like to learn more about farmers' thoughts on consumers' knowledge and expectations on produce quality and safety. So our conversations and the discussion for this focus group would center around these two broad topics. And as I mentioned, we are looking for small and mid-sized produce farmers or very small produce farmers. So if you grow produce on your farm, if you sell produce, the produce grown on your farm, and if your annual produce sale is less than $500,000 and you are interested to be a part of this focus group, I will put a link to a survey that we would like for you to fill so that we can identify people who are interested, and then we'll select a suitable location across Indiana. We have a number of locations across Indiana state, and then you can select which place would be you prefer to have your focus group session, the date and the time you would like to join the focus group. Participation would involve approximately 2 hours of your time. Usually the focus group takes around an hour and 30 minutes, but then we rounded it up to say 2 hours of your time. And then you would also fill a brief questionnaire. And at the end of the focus group, you receive a $75 cash token as appreciation. So anyone who is interested, we would really like to ask that you join and join our focus group session. If you also know of anyone who you think qualifies and will be interested to participate, when I share the link, I'll kindly ask that you send it out to anyone you know. The person could be in and out of Indiana, that's fine. We'll try and figure out how that person will join our focus group session. So we are just recruiting participants for our focus group. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Alma. I would just add to that and say, I think Purdue Food Safety, and I might be biased because I know a few of them, really are trying to help farmers. They're not out there to stick us with rules. They're out there to understand and articulate rules. And Dr. Fang does a wonderful job with her team in trying to do that. But they need our input as a small group to be able to kind of shift their ideas or kind of shall I say, develop their ideas on what they want to do for farming. And they look at veterans as a unique group that I think we are to kind of help them out. So I can't endorse them enough to, get with them if you have 2 hours of your time and you want $75 to help out. They're very, very helpful and very determined to help. And I think you need to give me back screen sharing.
Okay. Okay, I think I'll make you the host. Thank you, Joe.
Okay, no, thank you. And I'm pretty genuine in those words. I really mean you guys do a great job for us. Hey, so I wanted to put out a few things and get some input from the group and some ideas. The first thing was going to be was that we are doing our January conference. We're going to try to make it a family type event where at Fair Oaks Farm. And what I mean by family type, it'll still be focused on training in agriculture. We're trying to figure out a comfortable way to integrate some of the opportunities at Fair Oaks Farm to include their awesome water slides and great food so that it's not a farmer and his wife going away from home for the weekend in January, but rather taking the family on a little mini conference and having the kids do one thing and we're trying to work through that and hopefully we get some good ideas on that. But we did a poll. I think everybody's probably seen the poll if they've answered it. I think we had about 32 answers, and it kind of came around. People wanted a focused area on bees, rural opportunity, orchards, grant writing, sustainable farming, and mushrooms. So we're gonna see as a committee, we meet tomorrow at 9 o'clock. If you're interested, send me a note and we will try to get everybody through to the conference, I'm sorry, to the committee meeting tomorrow. I've been leading the committee meeting with a few great people. We would love to have more because we would love to have, the ability to do more, but when there's only a few people doing things, um, times become limited. So if somebody wanted to take over and manage the January conference, we're more than happy to help somebody get on their feet with that and manage the January conference. So Fair Oaks is just north. Joshua, I saw your note. It's just north of uh, Purdue towards Chicago. It's actually, I believe the town is Fair Oaks, but you can look up Fair Oaks Farm and see it. Right now, we're looking at the projected cost to be $175 to $200 for an adult ticket, and really that just covers the food. And next, it's going to be $130 per night room rate. So Doug, I do think pasture management is going to be highly discussed when it comes to cows, because the farm visits on Sunday have a lot of, because it's Fair Oaks Milk Farm, they do have a lot of dairy discussions and dairy opportunities and visits for the farm visit. So it's $130 per night per room, and then as I mentioned, Sunday will be a farm visit. That's about $19 per person, and that farm visit they have numerous museums. It's a really agri-tainment, kind of agri education area out there as well. So we're going to continue to develop that. Right now, that cost is with zero funding from outside of veterans and farming. That is the flatline cost. If we get donations, sponsors, tables, we'll continue to reduce kind of that adult ticket price. I expect it to go down hopefully quite a bit. The total is going to be about $45,000 to $50,000 to put on the event, not including the room. The other opportunity there is going to be pending the Ag Vet grant with Hoosier Uplands getting renewed. So we got a little bit of flex in the number. Please don't let the $200 scare you. We'll put out a final number in September and October, but that is really what I'm putting in front of you now. Worst case costs. It may change hopefully a lot when it comes to September and October based upon donations, sponsors, and selling tables to organizations that want to present. We have the opportunity for about 15 tables around the conference area there. So more to follow on that, but that's kind of where we stand on the conference. Any questions on the conference? Okay. Next is the budget. So last time, and John and I had chatted a little bit on text, but I think we got overcome by farm stuff. We didn't get a solid like Excel spreadsheet on the budget. But right now, our main expenditure is about $240 per month for the website. We have two veterans farms, Porter Farm and Jack's Farm, and those are really supported by direct donations from either nonprofits or others. So we really don't have a budget within veterans and farming for that. In fact, what we'd like to do is kind of move those costs more into the farms becoming self-sustaining. But right now, I think our main cost is when we send you out an email, it comes through the website. We manage the Facebook site. We have all that, and that's about a $240 per month cost. Our income opportunities are the fund, the SWA fund we just talked about, donations. We're going to start doing some class registration. Don't let that scare you as well, because what we're going to do is hopefully when we register for classes. So last week we had an awesome class with soil and nutrition at Jack's Farm, but we missed the opportunity to charge for it. That would probably not have come out of the pocket of a veteran, but would have come out of the funding of the Ag Vet grant. So what I mean by that is Ag Vets would either pay for it or reimburse the veteran for it. If we were to have charged $50 for it. That money actually would go back then into veterans and farming and give us a little bit of funding to not only do the website, but help with some of the supplies at Porter Farms and Jack's Farm. There's utility costs, there's other costs to having an event that we need to do there. Other funding opportunities are online bling. We have the awesome Veterans and Farming logo. We've done out, we've had a lot of stuff when it comes to patches. I think went over well for those people that got patches, and we want to get more of those. But we probably have an opportunity with an online, I call it bling, for those people that have seen that movie, store to put stuff out there for it. Also, one of the things that have come up is, we have a list of almost 800 members, but some people are either double tapped or not in existence or not answering emails or kind of just floating out there. So one of the things we wanted to do was charge a $5 per year membership due. And what that $5 does, it really, to me, but I know every dollar matters to some people, it's not much, but it actually shows, hey, I'm committed, I'm a part of Veterans and Farming. So when it comes to the budget discussion areas, I was wondering if anybody had any thoughts on that or the $5 membership due.
Hey, Joe, it's Scott Hunter. How are you this evening?
Great, Scott. What are your thoughts, man?
Oh, long time listener, second time caller. But anyway, I think that's a great idea. I'm not as active as I should be. Like I said, I have to work all the time now. So I think anything that, definitely helps the organization, I think that will definitely be a beneficial part of, just everything that goes on with it. Like I say, every dollar matters to everybody. I don't care if it's an organization or just the veteran farmer or whatever. So I think it's a great idea. That's not just nothing for the information that's passed along with this group and that can be passed along. I've gained so much from it. It's benefited me a ton, and still love to be more active in it. But as life rolls along here, it just doesn't work all the time. So like I said, anything I can do to help out, I'm always here.
No, hey, we appreciate that, Scott. Do appreciate that. So yeah, so we'll probably end up doing that if there's no controversy over it. Again, it's really will just help us do the website and a couple other things. And then hopefully as the Ag Vet grant, if it gets renewed, and all of us praying it will be, after August, it ends August 31st to get renewed next year. So when it gets renewed, hopefully a lot of these costs drop. I would love to make it free for every veteran. We're just not at that point yet, but we're going to strive to get there. So I'm going to go into a little bit of the classes and stuff. So we had a class at Jack's Farm in Anderson last, I guess it was 2 weekends ago, put on by NRCS Soil and Nutrient class. I think it was very well done. It was about 4 hours. It was a great presentation by them on how to assess the land and stuff if you're a beginning farmer. Happy to do that again, or kind of agree with anybody else that thinks they could use that. The group that did it is available to do on-site visits and the like. I learned a lot about what I did wrong when I planted and what I did right, and soil compaction and the like. So again, a great class. In August, we're going to put on a class on planting brambles. If you're not familiar with that, I think I spelled that right. It's usually raspberries, blackberries, kind of the berry areas, which you can't really kill in Indiana unless you really try. And we're going to throw in some other fruit bearing trees, if we can throw an apple tree in there or other trees, and really just get into that hands on experience. So everybody can watch a YouTube video on how to put a raspberry plant in the ground or how to do an apple tree. Stark Brothers has a whole bunch of them, but I think it's a little different when you actually do that hands on experience. So what we're going to do in August is we're going to do a hands on experience for planting brambles and other fruit bearing trees at Jack's Farm as we start to lay that out. We have a couple grant opportunities that may come to fruition by then. But worst case, those are cheap and easy and improving the area type things. If you're not familiar with raspberries and blackberries, I have blackberries I planted last year and they won't produce for another year or two. Apple trees are the same. They take a couple years. So those are the small things we want to get in the ground where as veterans continue to go to Jack's farm, we can see the growth and things starting to get produced there. Next is we talked about an equipment safety class. A lot of us have tractors. I can show you scary pictures of the cuts I had in my hand the first time I tried to remove my PTO. I don't know if anybody else has had those experiences, but equipment safety is a big thing. How to properly use a chainsaw, how to use a tractor and a PTO, things to think about. Kind of like food safety, right? It may not be on the top of our list until we get bit by it, but when you get bit by it, it's usually pretty hard. So we're going to do an equipment safety class and probably allow some people that have never used a chainsaw or ever used a tractor to get on one and try it out. And that way they can maybe feel a little more comfortable with their purchase. I know when I bought my John Deere 2032, the guy dropped it off. He gave me the instructions with it. He said to go at it. I was happy to, but I probably hit a few things I shouldn't have. It would have been nice to have a nice couple hours on it with somebody that was familiar with it. Same with my chainsaw usage. I still have a cut in one of my pants from a little kickback. So that'll be another opportunity in August. And then lastly, in August at Jack's Farm, we're going to do a class on honey harvesting. So a lot of people with Addie's Orchard, one of our partners, has gotten beehives this year. Bees are going crazy this year. Hopefully we have some honey to harvest, but there is some technique to harvesting honey. I learned the hard way that you have to do it in an enclosed area as the bees were attacking me. So there are some nuances to honey harvesting when it comes to cutting the comb, bleeding it, and I'm going to see if we can get some opportunities for people there too to learn about how to properly honey harvest. Our goal with those three courses is to do them probably, but not set in stone yet. In Saturdays in August, the 12th, 19th, and 26th. Probably we'll charge $50 if they're 4-hour blocks, $100 if they're 8-hour blocks, and then that cost for veterans can be paid through the Ag Vet grant, and we'll work that out. Other payments as well. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of, I think, the way we're going to go with that. If you have a dependent that wants to go with you, I think we can make some adjustments or some opportunities for the way we do it with Ag Vets in the past was caregivers, and we'll see how that works out. But we'll have to frame how we have other people do it. So that's kind of the Jack's Farm. I tell you, Porter's Farm is up and running well. Jerry Alexander, who's on the call, and board advisor, and with Senator Braun's office, and I are going out there with workforce development for Indiana, and we're going to go out there on July 10th. Yep, July 10th. August 10th, they're going to have a tree care class out there at Porter Farm, and in September 14th, they're going to have a mushroom cultivation class out there. Now, both of those classes are going to be free because they've already been advertised, and we don't want to, throw a charge on something that's already been advertised for free. But that's out there as well for them. That's out there at Porter Farm in Danville. If you haven't been out to either one of the farms, if you contact me or Sarah Creech, we're always happy to take you out there and show you around, or have Miranda or Michelle or Krista at Jack's Farm, Miranda and Michelle at Porter's Farm, show you the opportunities. Right, they do now have chickens and other things. Sorry about that little drop with a distraction. So anyways, what we're also looking for and what we appreciate everybody here for today is also any ideas on future classes. So would love to hear any ideas on classes or ideas on where veterans and farming should go. I saw Joshua, thanks for the input um, on sustainability, work that into sustainability. Rosemary, are you still on? Do you guys ever give classes on sustainability? I'll check with Tyler and Rosemary and see if that's ever an opportunity. I see they dropped as well. I do think it would be interesting to do sustainability, right? Because that could help you increase your opportunity for carbon credits and the like. Um, love that thought, Joshua, on the subsplash, although that's a new word for me. Um, maybe we could get offline and talk a little bit more about that. I'm just not familiar with that. We talk about a founders level kind of things. Um, we have talked about maybe doing if you're a member, you go to classes free. I don't think we're going to initiate any any membership fee for about the next 30 or 60 days anyways, as we start to work that out. But that's kind of where we're at now. Doug, if you shoot me a note or an email, um, I'd be happy to connect you with Jamie Perry. He gave the class, and he's actually visiting a friend of mine's farm over in Shirley, Indiana, this week. So I will put Jamie's information actually in the link, and hopefully you can talk to Jamie about a visit and just say you missed the class. Jamie is actually a veteran and was one of the first ag vet participants.
I think classes on like small animals like chickens or small ruminants like sheep and goats might be interesting.
Okay.
I don't know how out here right now in Virginia it seems to be really hard to find vets, especially small animal vets. And so having some classes on some basic care and treatments that you can do yourself in the event that you can't find a vet right away would probably be good.
Well, that's an interesting idea.
I have a comment about that. There's a book at Tractor Supply Company. I think you can get the Merce veterinary manual and so, but it goes pretty well into ruminants, and then it will touch on your poultry, especially your ground-borne diseases that are highly transmittable.
I really do like the idea of a small animal first aid. I think is kind of where we're going to, and you know how to keep it going until you can get to a vet. So we can look into that if that opportunity pops up. But we'll put that on the board. Joshua, are you available to talk about your poultry program with Purdue?
Yeah, I can. I'm working with Darren over there. He kind of runs the show when it comes to the poultry program at the animal sciences department.
Okay.
And so I've got a meeting with him in September. I'm disabled, so I don't handle the heat very well. And so I put it off till September when it starts to cool down a little bit. We're going to go over different building setups and that sort of thing, just kind of hash out some things because I want to start holding some programs or classes over here. I put in for a grant through the local community foundation for a building, and I want to start hosting classes for 4-H and the FFA youth, and anybody else that wants to come as far as poultry goes. So I'll be talking to Darren some more in the future here, probably after he gets back from his 4th of July vacation. But we're pretty small right now, but we're fixing to take off just as soon as everything gets aligned. So
Joshua, how many chickens do you want to have?
do you know, have you ever heard of Bell and Evans out of Pennsylvania?
No.
Okay, well, they're set up like, kind of like some of these hog producers are, where they're funded by Tyson or whoever to grow out their hogs, and but they have strict control, over their feed program and the transport and the processing and everything. They're really sharp. And so these satellite farmers raise the poultry for them. They have their own brooder house, but the farmer, and so I want to set up like they're doing, but I want veterans running their own poultry farms. You know what I'm saying? And then I want to employ veterans in the processing plant. So a couple 100,000 isn't out of the question.
Well, so would you dispatch the birds, or would the veteran do that, or did somebody else do that?
Yeah, we'll breed them out and then send them to whoever needs them. And then once they reach, weight, then we'll pick them up, bring them to the plant, and process them and send them out. We're going to have a layer facility too. So.
No, I really like that idea. I would add to that. I know we were looking at other animals and had discussions on mobile butcher trailers and other stuff.
That's a pain.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's valuable in some ways, but also is pick up and delivery. I mean, could you do something like rabbit there as well, or is it got to be set up for poultry?
It's going to be multi-purpose. I want to be able to switch out, within a day to process other animals. I don't want it to be strictly poultry. I know it takes a lot of. So one of the guys that's on my board has worked for ConAgra Foods. He's worked for Tyson. He's worked for the one over in Delphi. Anyhow, he has a lot of experience with the machine setup and all that kind of stuff. So he said it can be done. It's just time consuming.
No, I know. I see John Anhill drop, but he and the Lessie over at Celtic Glen have had some thoughts on rabbits and other stuff. I wonder, if there's some way of working this all together.
Oh yeah. Well, see, my cousin raises rabbits for meat. He's another veteran. He was in the Marine Corps. I was in the Army, but I won't hold it against him. So yeah, definitely. I mean, the small hooks, that kind of thing it's easy to interchange when it comes to small livestock, but when you're talking about switching over to beef or switching over to pork, that's a different story.
Yeah,
it takes a lot more space and a lot more, heavier equipment, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the thoughts there. I think there's a lot of opportunity. So whatever we can do to help, let me know. And
well, there's a lot of people that my wife raises silkies. She's a breeder, and she's starting to get into rabbits. And so a little bit of her background, she's like I call a super breeder because she tries to keep the lines pure, you know, culling out all the traits that aren't show quality or, you know, desired traits and that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, again, I think from what I hear from people is that there is a need out there. You know, I thought
There
about
is.
doing turkeys on my farm to help with the apple trees, but it's dispatch them. I don't want to go through, you know, processing them and all that. And there's really
Yeah,
no nearby place that'll only take 10 to 15 turkeys.
I know. Yeah, that's our, we have a place close by, but they suck. And I mean, I'd rather do it here than, and it's only, you know, it's up in Rochester. It's 15 minutes away, but they do such a crappy job. It's, I mean, I get my deer processed better than what the chickens would ever be processed. And we know people up north that have the same problem, you know. And even the packing, well, not packing houses, but like the butcher meat lockers, they can't keep up on just the beef and pork, you know. So they're never going to take a duck or a chicken.
Yeah, not in small quantities from what I had
Nope.
understand from our discussions with the Board of Health.
Yep. So I don't see why it can't be done. Just got to get the right people together to get it done. And I think Purdue's got an excellent program. I've helped build some of their barns out there on their poultry farm. So I was a heavy equipment operator for 25 years. I had 2 back-to-back cancers. I had to quit. Well, retire. They called it retire, but didn't want to. So we started this nonprofit so we could give, what we're doing right now is giving eggs to the food banks that we can. And we've got a small contract with Gleaners. And I don't know if that program is going to be, I don't know if round 2 is going to come about next year or not, but it does help with some cost.
Yeah, no, great. And if I see any grants that have to do with poultry and butchering, there was just one that came out about
Yeah, the local MCAP.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. But to me, it sounds like, when I read it, it sounds like expansion for existing processing. So you may want to look at it again. Maybe I misinterpreted it. I'm not much of a grant writer, but I am pretty good with paperwork. And that's kind of how I read it. So I don't know if you have to have a facility, an existing facility already to expand, or if it constitutes, you know, being able to build a new one. Because I'm in Logan Sport, and you know, I don't know if you've ever been over here, but it's like Ag Central. We've got the Andersons and Indiana Grain, and who else is out there? They call it the Agriplex, but there's a bunch of different agribusinesses out there on the Lafayette side of Logan Sport. And if we could afford it, that's where we build, you know, a processing plant, because the infrastructure is already there.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. Hey, we'll see what we can do and keep me in the loop on that. If I can help you out with any agribility grants or agribility, not grants because they don't have them, but endorsements or Purdue endorsements or connect with somebody.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be
Let us
awesome.
know. And, if we can partner with you, I think there'll be a lot of benefits for veterans out of that.
That'd be, yeah, that's my goal is I want to employ vets, man, because there's a lot of guys that need a purpose, and there's nothing, at least for me, there's nothing better than getting your hands dirty.
No, I agree. I agree. Hey, Ross, I saw your comment on hydroponics. I think what we're going to look at for hydroponics is trying to, as veterans in farming gets a nonprofit status, with which we've applied for in probably about 30 to 45 days of getting contacted on, from what I can tell from the IRS site.
Oh, cool.
We're gonna, so for that hydroponics, we may apply for um, the specialty
Hey.
crop grant next year.
If you need to partner with us to do some NPO work, more than happy,
Okay, thank you.
because we've already got our 501c3 charity status and have since last year, so we're good to go.
Yeah, I think there's some good opportunities when we partner and we're not competitive, especially when it comes to taking care of veterans. And I think that's why some of us are here today. So,
Well, yeah, and like you've got, so you said you have 800 members. That's a lot of vets in Indiana, and
yeah,
if we scale up like I want to, can you just imagine how many farmers we could put to work? Because somebody's going to have to handle the grain, the litter, hauling, transport, all that sort of things. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for people, even disabled vets, man. I mean, they can run eggs through the egg washing machine, or whatever. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity for everyone. And it would do my heart good to see somebody that can't walk, have a good 9-to-5 job and feeling good about what he's doing. And you know what I mean? It's rewarding for me to see somebody be happy, come out of their slump. Guys kind of get well, at least I know for me, you kind of get in almost a depressive state sometimes when you don't have a purpose.
yeah. No, those are moving words, Joshua. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any thoughts out
Yeah,
there?
kudos to you, Josh, because all you got to do is walk down the Indianapolis VA hospital on West 10th Avenue for about an hour there. You'll bring tears to your eyes, exactly what you were talking about. So I'm in with you. Just let me know.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll just lay it out to everybody. I really appreciate that. And sometimes it's not about touching 750 people, but it's about getting that one veteran that doesn't want to harm themselves to a better place the next day. So it's not always about the mass numbers. Sometimes it's about just feeling good about getting that one over a hump that they're challenged with. So I appreciate that. Any other comments or discussion points? I'd like to keep this an hour. Everybody's time is valuable. Learned that many times, and I don't need to overtalk anything. So any questions or concerns?
Hey, I did want to add, if you want to add me to that meeting tomorrow, I'll be more than happy. It's supposed to be raining here, so I'll probably have the time.
Absolutely. I'm gonna actually go to the Zoom link right now and I'll copy the link right now and I'll put it in the chat. If anybody wants to make the conference meeting tomorrow, that's the link right there. and then the looking for the dial-in now. And I'll do the one tap dial-in if anybody's familiar with that. It's got all the passwords and stuff and meeting numbers in it. So that's the one tap, the one touch dial-in for tomorrow as well. So anybody that wants to join it tomorrow, please feel free. We meet at 9 o'clock Eastern time, and we'd love to have you. We want to make that conference in January as valuable to the membership as possible. So any other thoughts or concerns? Okay, well, I'll stay on for the next minute or so if anybody's got any questions or comments, and I'll let everybody have a great evening, and thanks for this odd hour. We'll probably do another meeting. It'll probably be a month from now. We'll try to tailor these to monthly meetings, and I'll continue to work with the board on making this a great organization. Thank you.